From the 10th Amendment Center, signed by the governor, Indiana law prohibits credit card codes to track firearms purchases. On Wednesday, Indiana Governor Eric Holcomb, that's this fella here, signed a bill into law that will prohibit financial institutions operating in the state of Indiana from using a credit card merchant category code that enables the tracking of firearm and ammunition purchases. The law prohibits financial institutions from requiring merchant category codes for a purchase that identifies a merchant as a firearms retailer, distinct from a sporting goods or general merchandise retailer. It also prohibits a government entity from maintaining a firearm owner registry. The bill includes provisions providing civil penalties for violations. Apparently, Mississippi, Idaho, North Dakota, Montana, Texas, and Florida passed similar laws during the 2023 legislative session. And of course, the major credit card payment networks, your Visa, MasterCard, etc., were not happy with this. A MasterCard representative said such bills would cause inconsistency in how the code could be applied by merchants, banks, and payment networks. And this apparently came from an organization called the International Standards Organization. In September 2022, this organization based in Switzerland approved a new merchant category code for firearm and ammunition merchants. In the letter to payment card networks, federal lawmakers stated that the new merchant category code for firearms retailers, get this, would be the first step towards facilitating the collection of valuable financial data that could help law enforcement in countering the financing of terrorism efforts. Yes, because, ladies and gentlemen, terrorists go to legitimate retailers and they swipe their credit cards when they're buying their guns and ammo that they're going to terrorize with. Yeah, that's how it works. The article goes on to point out, concern about the misuse of federal firearms databases isn't just paranoia. The Taliban has apparently used a firearm ownership database created by the U.S. government to track down gun owners and confiscate firearms in Afghanistan. Ain't that the cherry on the top? This goes to show that even if you trust the people creating the database, it can fall into the wrong hands. In other words, the very existence of a database is a danger. Another disturbing part of this article, the feds can share and tap into vast amounts of information gathered at the state and local level through fusion centers. If you haven't heard of these before, you should Google it, or actually probably want to go to some other search platform. Through fusion centers in a system known as the Information Sharing Environment, or the ISE. Fusion centers were sold as a tool to combat terrorism, like the Taliban, but that is not how they are being used. The ACLU pointed to a bipartisan congressional report to demonstrate the true nature of government fusion centers. They haven't contributed anything meaningful to counterterrorism efforts. Instead, they have largely served as police surveillance and information sharing nodes for law enforcement efforts, targeting the frequent subjects of police attention: black, brown people, immigrants, dissidents, and the poor. So I'm a little torn on this, to be honest with you, because on the one hand, in a truly free society, businesses should be allowed to operate the way they see fit as long as they aren't actually harming anybody. The concern comes in that we know what's going to happen with this data in the environment that we're in now. The government basically has no respect for the Constitution in the U.S. or the fundamental human rights that it protects. Most pertinent in this discussion, the Second Amendment to the United States Constitution, which provides a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the reduction of a fundamental human right, the right to protect yourself. It's the reduction of that right to writing and codifying it into the supreme law of the land of the United States. It's not the merchants that we should be concerned about. It's not the credit card processors that we should be concerned about them making this category. It's disturbing that they do that, but at the end of the day, it's the government's interest in this data and the fact that the government should not be going after this data without any real probable cause, and it should only be done in a very limited fashion, dealing with specific individuals that they have evidence of doing some wrongdoing.